who inherited it from her father, who is now 82. He is the first endocrinologist of Haiti, and she is one of the few that is still practicing and has not left Haiti. And she is looking at doing epidemiologic studies, trying to figure out who has type 1 diabetes, what children have it, how we can make a difference, how she can make a difference in Haiti. So it turns out they just finished an epidemiologic study of the 10 million people in Haiti, 400,000 have diabetes. I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine because we imagine that they don't have food. Well, they actually do have food. Good news is nobody's going to let patients starve to death. So there's a lot of food. It's very poor quality food. It's very high carbohydrate, high fat food. So particularly women are getting overweight and developing diabetes. There is still, like there is in all of these countries, a background in addition of children developing type 1. We don't know how many because there is still an 85% mortality in the first year of diagnosis once they're identified. And that's missing probably a lot of people get that far. So 2 years ago was the earthquake. Of course, don't forget Haiti was the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere before the earthquake, and the earthquake just flattened what was available. We were just there, and things are still flattened. There is some progress, but very little progress. Rather than 1.5 million people homeless, they're down, I think, to about 800,000, 900,000 people living in tents. So here's the Haitian Diabetes Center. If you want to make your next appointment there, I'm sure they would accommodate you. People come and line up for a long time. Everything's done in classes. The hope is that they can get to work. And I'll show you some of that. So the real hope is that we can start to address some of the issues around the feet, and that they do have a cadre of medication that they can give. They have for the children 70-30 insulin. So they take 1 or 2 shots a day. We think we're going to be able to get just regular down there, so we can do some corrections when we need to. We run a little grant. We're doing a little study to see if it can be done safely, because they only actually have about 2 strips a day, even when they're on Life for a Child. That's all they get, 2 strips a day. So we're working hard to have it up. So here they're lining up, all waiting very patiently, doing education while they're waiting. So there actually is a video in Creole going by talking about diabetes and nutrition and care and cardiovascular disease. So that's pharmacy, that little corner over there. So you buy everything you want on the streets. There's just these huge cones filled with pills. And many of the patients, if they can't get everything they want for free, they go and buy them there. I have no idea how you know what you just got. And you don't need really a prescription. You just negotiate with the guy on the corner, and you get medicine. This is, got to meet Sean Penn. So he has his own. What's happened in Haiti is the NGOs run Haiti. NGOs are really great, except it doesn't necessarily work when there's no government behind them. So everybody just kind of takes their piece. So Sean Penn has a 9-hole golf course with 40,000 people living in between tents and now these kind of, I don't know, prefab constructed houses that actually look like dog houses. They don't have floors, but they've got their plywood instead of just tent. And he's got a clinic there, and we went from clinic to clinic trying to develop standards of care around diabetes, because whoever is in that clinic at that point in time kind of manages diabetes however they want. And then around the perimetry of all of these places, there are all the toilets and the showers and these portable things. This is medical school, so when I go down there I teach in medical school. It's amazing. So when they go to ask a question, they all stand up. Many of them don't have books. Whatever you put up on a slide, they completely write everything down, and I get all my slides translated. Start writing all, insulin arrows, what the pancreas looks like. So we've been able to get them a lot more books. I mean, really, really hardworking kids to go to school in these tents. The tents are about 100 degrees. I thought I was going to melt. Kind of up there, ranting like usual. And then here's the neonatal intensive care unit. They actually have baby needs to be ventilated, they don't make it. Here's the pediatric ward. I'll show you a little bit more. Here's a girl in coma from diabetes on the ward, getting her care done with urine test. So when we first got there, the first year we got there, they didn't even have blood meters in the pediatric ward. Now they do. This year we got them to the obstetrical ward. One day we'll be able to get them throughout the hospital. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get the meters, but then there's not enough strips. So you can open a closet in most of the third world and outfall a whole bunch of equipment. They run out of batteries, they run out of whatever disposable part of it is, and they just put them all. So we've been doing a lot of work, and don't get me wrong, Haiti's not the only place. Obviously Africa, parts of Indonesia, and there are a lot of alignment of health there. So ISPAD, which is the Pediatric Diabetes Association, the International Pediatric Diabetes Association, started to run classes in Africa and in Asia where we take the pediatric endocrinologists in training and help train them in their own countries or their own regions. There's a lot of, probably the best program ever out of the International Diabetes Federation, run by Graham Ogle, is the ability to get these children into the program called Life for a Child, where they'll get insulin and they'll get strips and meters, they'll get an A1C, they'll get care. It's not like what we're used to, but maybe right now, at least it keeps them alive, and the longer you go back, the more you can work with them, the more you can push the metric, so, which is what we're trying to do in Haiti. A lot of work around trying to figure out epidemiologically how many kids are we missing before diagnosis with type 1 diabetes, and then doing public and professional awareness of the basic signs and symptoms of diabetes in children so that they know about this. And then we just ran the first camp in Haiti. I'll show you some pictures. It was amazing. We made a huge mistake. We had to invite, so we sent out invitations for the kids to come to camp. And I didn't know that we should have said that we would also feed them. So they didn't know, so when they're not sure they're going to get their next meal, they don't take their shot in the morning. So by the time most of them got to camp, their blood sugars were 500. So it took me a little while to correct everybody. So next time we'll just be sure to tell them I'll also offer food. And then in the midst of all this, I'll show you who started us on the concept of a cottage industry, because they're going to need your help with that. And then their big goal is to have a foot clinic. So we're really working hard on getting a little bit of a foot clinic. So here's another diabetes clinic. So we needed an outreach from where Fatimax central headquarters is in Port-au-Prince. So this is an area called Liagan, which is the epicenter of the earthquake. The whole place is just flat. One building survived, and it's now become a clinic, and we've trained people there for an outreach in diabetes. This is the diabetes waiting room outside. Here are people with diabetes, and that's what I saw all day long, feet like that. We go down there with no preconceived notion the first time of what should be done. We listen to what they want done. We have not gone to deliver care. We've gone to teach people how to deliver care. Because the biggest problem with Haiti right now is, Doctors Without Borders is great when you're in the middle of a crisis. Doctors Without Borders, once that crisis is over, you get a different doctor each time. They bring this med or that med. When those meds run out, then you got to be, there's just no coordination. There's no teaching. So it's actually helped devastate the indigenous Haitian medical community. So we're trying to have that all be able to understand that. So the clinic is that little corner right there in the pharmacy, and they get an A1C, a blood pressure, a finger stick, a urine, their feet, which we're trying to really do some stuff around big cardiovascular issues, and most of the, all they have really is just in this moment. Maybe they can get on an SU as well, and some insulin. This is diabetes camp. So here's all the kids that came to camp. Some came with their mommies because we wanted them to. And at the end, the mom big room. We had our last dinner together, where we ran out of chicken, and it was amazing how much protein these kids really wanted because they get so little protein. And each kid talked, and they each said it was the best week of their life. And the mom said that she thanked us very much for this experience, but now she has to go home and she's got no way to be sure that she can do anything that she learned that she should be able to do. So could we help her find a job? So I don't know, there's 80% unemployment right now in Haiti. So we came up with this concept that they do amazing bead work, and this mom was doing some amazing bead work while she was in between things going on in camp. So we're thinking that maybe we could get like utility bags for diabetes stuff, and have them beat them and then sell them to all you guys. Big jacked up price. So, we're real honest, and they may not look so beautiful. But anyway, so we're in the midst of working this out with some people. So we're hoping that we got to find some way. And probably the most successful program ever is there's a program through Life for a Child in Africa, where they've actually taught the kids with diabetes some skills, to some carpentry, some other things, so that they can be employed. So we like to the moms and actually that blue house that you saw, maybe get some of the boys into carpentry and be able to get them to be employed. So this is Evelyn. This is Erin from Iuda, who came because I don't know how to run a cam. This is an 8-year-old, normal size. This is an 11, 12, and 13-year-old. So the kids, I just finished rewriting the 6th edition of the Type 1 book for ADA, and there was a place about poor growth and stiff joints, and I took it out, and I went to Haiti, and I put it back in again, because these kids couldn't even open their hands. They're so stiff, and they're not growing. And I don't know if you can see that little white T-shirt. That big bulge is her liver. Her livers are down to their pelvis. So, and I talked to Graham, and Graham's really, this is where we need to go. So now we've kept him alive, now we got to go the next step and get to the kind of care, because you know what, if you end up in renal failure in Haiti, there is not a dialysis unit. So we can't keep him alive to let that happen. So anyway, but they were really, there's a bunch of these boys in the university. We played the most amazing, kind of Jeopardy. They didn't know what Jeopardy was, but they caught on really quickly, and they started arguing when we said, where can you inject? And somebody said arms, legs, and butt, and the other team said arms, thigh, and butt. And of course the legs is wrong because you can't inject all over your legs, so they were just ready to duke each other out. So Insulin for Life is the other program that really needs support. Ron Rapp, if you want to write a story about a hero, these are the guys to write about. It's just being able to get, supplies and also Life for a Child. So, and Life for a Child, which is now, really, this is an old site,